Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Magic Mics, proudly sponsored by our Patreon supporters and CoolStuffInc.com, where you can find cool stuff in stock every day, and our co-sponsor CardHoarder.com, offering the best inventory prices and delivery of cards for Magic Online, and our newest co-sponsor Cardamajigs.com, presenting Cubamajigs. These durable, scratch-resistant plastic cases are perfect for cubes, sideboards, and more, with new designs every single Monday. I am Evan Irwin, and we get started each week by saying hello to my two co-hosts, Aaron Campbell.
Good evening.
Ruben Bressler.
Hi, how are you?
I did not set up the giveaway. That's what I did not do. That's why everybody's putting in the giveaway action when there's no.
Way to promote the Kickstarter.
Yes.
Yeah, get that thing working, and then we can start the show.
Yep, I'll do that right now. You guys go ahead and tell everyone about your week for a moment.
Oh, really? Okay, sure.
We should start off by asking, so Ruben, tell us about that T-shirt that you're wearing.
Oh, so yeah. You'll get the story behind why I'm wearing this T-shirt in the pre-show, but this is a shirt from the inaugural game at Columbus Crew Stadium from May 15th, 1999, because Aaron was calling out all us dudes who have shirts that can vote and are old enough to drink. I've also got an Earth Day 1995 shirt somewhere in my collection.
There are people in this shop that weren't born when that T-shirt came out.
I know.
Oh my goodness.
Ridiculous.
What a world.
Go Crew. Hashtag save the crew.
All right, look at all the tickets.
Now we can start the show.
All right.
Okay, we got it. All right, thank you very much. That said, we get started each week with our Trumpet Blast. You can get one if you support us at our highest level on Patreon. We don't have one this week, but we might have one from you next week if you want to support us there. That said, it's Kickstarter time. Kickstarter for War of the Spark the complete set review for War of the Spark is up and running. Yay. And I've linked it, and it's awesome. And Erin had the most insane idea that she just randomly dropped and said, what if we ignited our Spark with matches or some variation thereof? And I was like, oh,
it's the smartest thing I've ever heard in my life.
And it turns out there's already an industry that exists to make matchbooks for mainly weddings, it appears. Right. But we will take that and we will slap our logo on it and we will take it for ourselves.
Magic is stressful. A lot of us have to go out for a cigarette in between rounds, so we are here for you. We also have the pop stickers. You know me, I love a good selfie. And I see too many of you need to work on that selfie game, and a great way to start is by getting yourself a pop sticker so that you can hold that phone and get those good angles.
So nice. the levels we have this time around, we have, of course, the pledge $1 level because you love our set reviews and you want to support our content, which of course we are exceedingly thankful for. Over 12 hours of content planned. We will probably film some other stuff, including the blooper reel.
Like someone getting a pie in the face?
Someone is going to get a pie in the face based on hashtag Mausoleum Secrets.
That card looked good. That card looked good.
We might be doing the 3-person dance meme at some point.
We talked about one of our stretch goals. There's a new viral meme called the triangle dance. And I just threw it out in the Discord. I was like, maybe that should be one of the... We like to have really silly stretch goals. And the Discord just ate it up.
Yeah, so we might do that. But at $1, you support us. We love you. Thank you so
all
much.
They get all the digital stuff too.
Oh yeah, all the digital stuff like the phone backgrounds and your laptop backgrounds and stuff like that. Then at $10, you'll get those matches, which is pretty. That's such a good idea to ignite your own spark with a Magic Mike's matchbook mics. So at $10, you get those and the token. You get 3 total tokens. One of which is the Evan Irwin Bear. Then there's also the Aaron Campbell Angel and the Ruben Bressler Goblin. At $30, you get the pop socket as referenced, and then 4 of each token plus the matchbook and the digital items. And then, of course, at $2.50, there's the be a special guest and give your review of your favorite card in the set. So, we hope you do support us.
Yeah, so that's that link right there is in the chat. By the time you finished speaking, we're up to $746, which is amazing, and I thank you, and you guys are great, and I'm always humbled at any and all support that we get.
He's also like low-key terrified.
Every single time.
Look,
and as you should be.
Yes, we did get the bear token. The bear token is an in-joke that we have been running with for some time, and when we were coming up with the ideas for the next round of tokens, I was like, Evan.
Well, what I'm really happy with is... Thank you so much to our artist Dios who finished the artwork. Yes, and you can see the tokens as they will be printed on the Kickstarter. No more little boxes and it's coming later and I have to show it to you a month and a half from now. No. We got this done, got it early, it's here. And in fact, I can announce right now that I have all of the digital items finished. We have all the backgrounds and the wallpapers right now. I can send those out tomorrow. So if you just want to get the digital stuff, just throw in $1. Let us know that you care, and we're gonna make this set review happen. And I want to make it as great as possible. And by God,
Chad is asking, will our names be in the credits again? Will the listeners who contribute?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. We'll make sure everybody's names are in the credits. I didn't put that in there.
That in the description, but we are gonna do that.
We also got some sweet special guests lined up, some old returning faces, and also some fresh new faces. So it should be a good time.
Yeah, and that's for our $4,000 stretch goal, because I want to be able to give the special guests something for being special guests, and not just let me use you for free. So the idea that, be able to have, for example, I'd love to get Frank Karsten finally on one of these, which was fantastic. Rich Hagon also would be terrific. Of course, Patrick Sullivan coming back is fun. So that said, we're going to move on here to the first pick. The first pick for this week is new WPN details showed up. Introducing the new Wizards Play Network. Now here's the thing. There are aspects about this program that I know that I can't talk about because Wizards hasn't publicly talked about them. That's how the NDA stuffs work. So what I can tell you is...
Clarify that real quick. Hold on. So there are NDAs with you you and I would presume other like business owners have NDAs based on WPN stuff. Is that how that works?
It does work. Depending on what you're talking to Wizards about, they will ask you to sign NDAs for. So, and that can be, people in the business who it pertains to. Sure. But I will obviously talk about what we know publicly. So let's put it this way. First of all, when I read this and I found out about this, I will no joke. I literally said, "This is so good. Are we sure Wizards came up with this?" I love you, Wizards, but for real, usually there's like some glaring flaw, like some really clear something that was missed, and that's not happening this time. And so, if you go back and you think, if you're working in Wizards in January per se, and you're like, Modern Horizons is coming out June. This new WPN thing is going to totally overhaul the way we look at and work with stores and how they interact with their players, and how we're going to really grow the game using the model that we've created. When you know all that, you're like, what are you guys worried about? Like, quit freaking out. Everything's cool. Everything's fine. And you're like, but you're not telling us anything. They didn't tell us what was going on until weeks and months later. And so all of the speculation over they just care about Arena, it's only digital, everything else is being left behind. Is there even going to be paper Magic, in big tournaments in a couple years from now if everything's just going to Arena? And when they knew that this stuff was coming, of course, they're just like, just be patient. And we're like, we're Magic players, and then we got to freak out and stuff because it's crazy. But this stuff here is a real investment into the WPN network. Now I got to give Wizards one piece of crap because this was ridiculous. Wizards says out levels, in levels. They had 4 levels right now. They're replacing it with a system that has 2 levels, the basic and the premium.
Right.
But they have said, and they keep saying, first, no more levels, and then they're going to replace their system with levels. Okay, fine. There's that. But they are going to essentially say there are stores that are fine. They're good. They're in the WPN program. They're doing the stuff. They're running the events. And then there are the WPN premium stores. It is a public recognition of the best stores in the world, and a way for Wizards to support them in a way that equals their contribution to the Magic community. Basically, not all stores are alike, and there are bad stores. Just like, something's got to be the best, something's got to be the worst. There's the worst store out there. It does exist.
I've been to a couple.
And there's been some bad ones. And usually, most of the issues is stuff like cleanliness. Stuff like, do they have things posted? Do they help new people out who are asking about how to learn things? Are their bathrooms disgusting?
Are there bathrooms?
Are there bathrooms?
Stores that did not have toilets.
Basically, is it a clubhouse? There's a lot of stores that turn into clubhouses, and clubhouses close, you guys.
Right.
Clubhouses don't make money. Clubhouses don't grow communities. Clubhouses don't make sure that, the females and whatnot actually want to show up there and do things there. Because
there's actually a really good combination of an article and a think piece that Kevin Smith wrote one time about how a lot of comic book stores and by connection game stores are designed to get you to not come into them.
Yeah.
Because they're closed off, because they look shadowy, because of the way that they're presented.
Well, that's the theory behind a lot of fast food restaurants, is that there's so much thought put into making you not want to stay there. They want you to just hurry up and eat your food and get out. And I wouldn't be surprised if the same, maybe ergonomics was applied to stores of just get your packs and go.
Right.
Yeah, the current so what they're going to do is they're going to instead of giving away just the F&M promos, for example, and the open house promos, they're going to have packs with 4 cards in them.
Ooh.
And this is going to start with Magic 2020. They're going to have 4 slots, essentially. The first slot is going to be a promo stamped rare or mythic rare from the most recent set. Could be any rare or mythic rare. Slot 2 is a promo stamped rare or mythic rare from a short curated list. These will be from standard legal sets. They'll be hand-selected by Magic's Design Studio. Remember, it's not R&D, it's Design Studio. These lists will be public, which is cool. You'll also see a curveball here and there. I don't know what that means. One such curveball will come with M20. We'll show you when card previews start. You'll like it. I don't know. Maybe they'll do Hidden Treasure or something again.
That's not a thing I like.
No, this is all positive. Slot 3 is a promo stamped alternate art basic land. That's cool. Obviously, there's going to be 1 of 5 there. And slot 4 is the promo slot. With each standard legal set, there will be a selection of special season-specific cards. A season goes from one set release to another, just like F&M promos. Although for the first season, there will be 5 cards up from the usual 3. Most of the time, you can expect to see the alternate frame cards you're accustomed to, but here again, they'll throw a curveball. Buy a Box promos, note, will remain standalone cards. They'll be based on the new metrics too, and so will products like Signature Spellbook. Pre-release allocations will remain as they are. So there's ways for you to get a lot more sort of nitty-gritty information, but here's essentially what's changing. Instead of just counting how many people are playing in the store, they also want to make sure that the players are engaged and playing more often. And with that idea is that you're counting not just the fact that they are playing there or that you have X players at your store, but also that they're playing again and again and again. So they're counting quote-unquote tickets and engaged players. Tickets being, if you're in an event, right? If you play an F&M, that's 1 ticket. If you play in another event the next day, that's 2 tickets. And if you play in multiple events during the day, that's a ticket for every event you were in. So if you played in 3 drafts, that's 3 tickets. They also want to look at engaged players. The second being to measure quality. Essentially, an engaged player is someone who comes to your store at least once every 2 months. Now, that is measured throughout the year and can be truncated. What I mean by that is, if I go to a store and I play in 6 different events over the course of a weekend, I'm counted for the year as an engaged player. So I need 1 every 2 months, averaged out over the year, or as a total of 6 or more throughout the year. That's your engaged player. Now, this is a system that's very similar to what Yu-Gi-Oh! Has. Yu-Gi-Oh! Has a system where you create events and you submit them to Konami, and based on the amount of people that you have had in your events previously, they will send you prize packs. And those prize packs are for the people who play in those events. Because if you didn't know, Yu-Gi-Oh! Cannot give out cash, which is honestly a good thing, if you know something about that. But the point is, that's sort of their system, which is to count the number of people who are playing at events and how many times they're playing. This is amazing for a few reasons. First of all, you have to expect that there's going to be bad apples, that there's going to be terrible stores that are just going to take these packs, open them up, flip them on eBay because they're awful. Okay. But there's also going to be people who actually use these things the way that they're designed, which is foster your own community. Figure out a way to give these out that makes people want to come back, that makes people want to play different formats or play in the formats that they love more and more. The idea that you have, if I go out into the store as a store manager, for example, and I have this magical pack of cards that we know is cool and that everyone likes, and I go, who wants to play in a 4-person commander pod for this pack right now? They can make that event. They can count those as tickets. They can give out a really cool prize that the players will like and create an event literally sort of out of nowhere, out of thin air. that to me is power in terms of what stores can do to keep people engaged and excited, because you're going to want to do this. You're going to want to win this. You know, it's like, oh, you know, you guys are testing for the modern GP, right? Well, let's do a little 8-man right now, and we'll give the winner.
That sounds great.
1 out of 4 packs is all foil. 1 out of 4 packs of this.
I mean, that's pretty cool.
Is all foil.
Everything that they're announcing in this announcement is great. My concern is that every time that we've talked about the WPN on this show, it's 80% of the time it's been them not following through on things that they've said. True or false?
I mean, percentages wane, but sure, it's been usually negative.
It's been a lot of, you know, we promising and not following through.
Right.
So that is one of my concerns. My other concern is that this was written by let's quote here, by Nelson Brown, WPN community manager. So I'm not totally sold on the copy editing and what we've done correctly on that front. But with all that said, I think that everything put forth in this announcement is great, and I am rooting for this to work because all of this sounds fantastic.
There is a new event locator tool that they've shown off as sort of the beta version of it, and it is brilliant and fantastic and 1,000,000 times better than what they had before, which is awesome. You can search by format, for example, as to which formats are being played in events around you. That's really cool. So the idea that Wizards is essentially going to put more time and resources into their best stores to make their best stores better, and the bad stores are going to honestly remain bad. If they already have bad habits, this program isn't going to fix their stores. They need to be committed to taking the tools that Wizards gives them and build from there. If you're going to do shady stuff, or if your place is terrible to hang out and play Magic in, that's not going to improve your metrics no matter how many packs they give you. So there's a certain amount of packs per their own metrics. I won't go into the details, but if you're a store owner, obviously you care about that stuff. The idea essentially is that, wow, instead of just getting an F&M promo, I could get an all foil pack of these 4 cards that I know include rares and mythics from either the current set or a list that they show me that is probably all full of fantastic cards to open.
Yeah, I think that the randomization of the promos is really attractive, and that'll make each individual one more special. I think that the changing of the system, even though that they are still levels, the changing of the leveling system is really nice, giving the top 5% or so of WPN stores some, you know, clout and recognition in that way. I think is really nice. Right. And I think that it all seems to, and the new event locator is really nice. I think it's all great news. You know, they have planned the work. Now they need to work the plan. And once that happens, then they'll be good.
Well, the idea that they said essentially they're going to get priority assistance from a dedicated WPN development rep, like that's a real thing. Like, I mean, like I've already seen them interact in that fashion. Like they're not kidding. Like they really want you to hit certain things and have certain things be true. Otherwise you're not going to get the goodies. And the goodies are real good. And I'm excited when they announce more goodies of things I've heard about that I can't necessarily talk about it. So that said, that's why I'm very excited about it. That's why I felt like the narrative of they don't care about the stores is gone, because they are creating, first of all, they're copying I feel a better system in terms of what Konami was doing with how they work and grow Yu-Gi-Oh events. And they're giving players packs of awesome promos that they're excited to get. Like that's value. Like how much is that pack worth? Just blind, right? Would you pay $10 for a guaranteed alternate
I have
art
no
land
idea
and
what I would pay for those.
foil rare and all this other foil stuff?
MSRP doesn't exist anymore, so.
Nope. So there you go. That's again, but that was where it came from.
You on all of this because you're the expert on the in-store stuff and the WPN stuff. So if you say that this is all gravy, it's all gravy.
It's gravy. The store, the regional manager for Cool Stuff Games is very excited. I'm very excited. I think, and again, from the things I know publicly and not publicly, this is very, very good. Awesome. Wizards is for real doing it. That's great. Kick ass, or kick booty, Wizards. You kick the booty.
You can't put that toothpaste back in the tube, Evan.
It's too late. It's too late. All right. So, Aaron, I know the WPN stuff wasn't really your bag.
Oh no. You should tell them what was. Come on, go ahead. Since you were so sure the other day, you tell them.
I was quite certain of myself and what Wizards was going to do, and this is why I retweeted the tweet that said, "Magic players, why didn't you ban Faithless Looting? Because the BNR update came out and there were no changes to any format.
Which is a victory for Team Dredge.
But they did explain why they didn't ban Nexus of Fate and Standard, like anyone was asking that question at all.
Notice that it wasn't even mentioned.
It wasn't even mentioned at all. They mentioned it on stream a little bit when Paul Cheon, Paul, and Melissa Tora were playing. They mentioned that there'd been enough upheaval in the format. Plus, they're coming out with this new Horizons product that they felt like throwing another wrench in the works at this time was not the right way to go, which I'm totally cool with.
Yeah, I mean, the reality of it, there was a clip made of Melissa and Paul when they were streaming the other day, and somebody had asked them why Faithless Looting wasn't banned, and they basically said that they want to give the format a chance to correct itself. Like, the reality of the situation is that people are not taking these decks seriously. The top 2 decks of your format are graveyard decks, and people are buying surgical extractions. Like, that's cute, but like, no one's running Ravenous Trap. No one's running Grafdigger's Cage.
Right.
A couple people are running ley lines. Like, you gotta want it, and you gotta take these decks seriously. And I'm sure that Surgical has game against Phoenix, but you're not preparing adequately for these decks. And you know, if they're seeing that people are trying and the strategies still aren't working, well, then they're probably going to step in. But until they see people start to really respect and prepare for these decks, they're not going to change anything. And so I think they're trying to give people a chance to make their own corrections. And if they see that that's not working, then they'll do something about it.
We're seeing a little bit of a movement, the very slightest of movement, in so much as, for example, the Phoenix decks, which I think that the 2 best decks in the format are Phoenix and Dredge, with Titan, Amulet Titan not far behind. Mostly because it has a good matchup against those 2 decks specifically. The Phoenix decks are beginning to replace their gut shots with surgicals in the main deck. Now, that isn't to say that we are now all main decking Leyline of the Voids and we're all main decking Mistcallers and like all this other garbage that is an overcorrection. I think that running main deck surgical is a correction and a good one. And I think that that's fine. That is a healthy format when that card is viable as a main deck card, but isn't completely, you're allowed to rock the boat without completely flipping the boat over. That level
the surgical doesn't really do anything against Dredge, so it's
right.
Okay.
I mean, you can take out a prized amalgam or whatever, or a blood gas.
I beat someone the other day. I was at regionals the other day, and I faced a young man who's a very good player. He's somebody on the SCG circuit. He has won things. He hit me with 3 surgicals in Anger of the Gods.
Yeah.
And I still killed him with a hard cast Creeping Shell. Like,
and you're not alone. And sometimes you can win. That's just like, sometimes you play Stony Silence against Affinity and you're just dead to, a Signal Pest draw.
I mean, as much crap as I give Burn's running 3 Rest in Pieces now. Like, Burn's doing what they have to do. Like, and I say that as somebody who has had to prepare for other hateful decks. When I play Vintage, I have main decked an Ingot Chewer. Like when the format is very shops heavy, you do what you got to do. And we're just not seeing the respect from people when it comes to these top decks.
And the format will recorrect itself. The Tron decks will begin running more relics again. You'll start seeing main deck things like Tormod's Crypt out of the Whir decks again. There will be format shifts. The Jund decks will run more exile stuff.
Yeah, I think they're also going to give time. They also want to see what Modern Horizons can do. I mean, we're looking at 200 plus cards that are going to flood the format, and
over 250 cards is going to jump in there.
Want to see, and I think they want to test the London Mulligan rule. And if you're going to test something like that, you want to make sure that you have, kind of the most accurate idea of what your format and your setting looks like. And so, taking a card out can throw those experiments off. And so, I honestly think it makes sense, but I was surprised to see how many people really thought it was going to happen.
Yeah,
the London thing, as we get closer to it, is just starting to blow my mind more and more. The idea that they're going to make the pros draft for the Spark on this pre-release weekend at essentially, the Pro Tour Mythic Championship.
That is really bizarre.
Or that you still can't do it on Moto, and they're not even sure if you will be able to.
For like one day, right? You'll get that Thursday, and then that's it.
Calling off of work for that.
I mean, And so is every other pro, because that's the one day they
I'm
got.
not a pro. I just want to do broken things.
I like to play with new sets, which is great. But like, it's just, you know, one of those, this is really odd.
Wizards. I admire because there was a while there where it was like, all right, you get your 2 weeks to practice, and then we'll go to the Pro Tour. And that was a long time. Yeah. And then they switched up the Pro Tour schedule, and some Pro Tours were like 2 weeks later, and some Pro Tours were during established formats 2 months later.
Right.
And tried those things. Now they're trying something completely different, which is we want to see what you can do, what you can think on your feet. What can you do with a brand new set? What can you do with a brand new mulligan rule? What can you do with a brand new format? Which I think is super cool.
Oh yeah, I mean, at this point, War of the Spark has been announced that it has a Planeswalker in every pack, which is going to be amazing in and of itself. Now, the way that Wizards got around that in Dominaria was to have a legend in every pack, but in order to make that many legends, they weren't all rare anymore or mythic. Yeah, so
yeah, they're going to have to be. It's going to have to be like Dominaria with the sagas and the legends. Mm-hmm. Except for that now it'll be with Planeswalkers. I mean, there's no way that you can have every rare and mythic in the set be a Planeswalker. That's just unreasonable.
Right. So I guess we'll see how they fix that problem. That said, and something that we actually aren't talking about and that we don't know, and I'm actually I'm actually happy about this one. And this was something that I asked about last week that we kind of had fun with, which is, where's the Challenger deck lists? That thing comes out in a month. Like maybe even less than a month, but like soon, 3 to 4 weeks from now.
That signals to me that it's going to have cards from the new Modern Horizons set in it.
No, what it would signal to me, well, these are the standard decks, the Challenger decks.
Oh, I thought the Challenger were Modern. Sorry.
No. But what I'm expecting actually is this is them testing how soon to a product release they're going to tell you what's in the product. Because clearly Challenger decks killed it last year, no doubt about it. They could have just ran back that schedule and whatever would have been fine. But the idea of saying, look, we're going to wait until maybe the week before it comes out and we tell you everything that's in it. Maybe you just catch that hype wave and you sell a lot more by holding the announcement back a little bit. So I'm actually really intrigued by that. And so Wizards, I see you. You think I don't see you, I see you. By what they're not saying.
You see them if you have your glasses on, because you're
right.
Sam.
Because you're an old man.
Wow, I didn't even recognize you.
I know,
wow.
right?
Astigmatism. I recognize him without his glasses. That's been a...
That's fine.
I recognize young man Irwin.
All right. That said, Wizards announced that the Mythic Invitational...
Did you seriously skip that link?
Did I skip which link?
The one above it.
Oh, God, I missed it. I'm sorry. I didn't have it right. So... we were speaking earlier about the WPN and about how we don't want clubhouses and there are bad stores that do exist. And there was a Kotaku article that came out today that basically addressed that very thing. And Aaron, you wanted to talk about it a little bit.
Yeah, so this was an article that contained interviews with Jess Steffen, who was the first woman to win a GP. It also had an article with an interview from Autumn Burchett, who famously just was the first non-male competitor to effectively win a Pro Tour or a Mythic Championship, and had an interview with Elaine Chase, who was talking about how she feels very strongly about trying to make Magic less of a boys club. And it was a really, really good interview. And I'm really glad that they also interviewed Simone Aiken, who is the woman who founded Play It Forward, because Simone is really the first person to take a different and proactive approach to trying to solve the problem of women in Magic. Before Simone, a lot of us were trying to just fix the culture and just fix the environment. And Simone had a really unique take of just get them in the room. Like just get these girls into these GPs, motivate them to want to do well, whether it be with product or mentorships and things like that. And she made people care about the topic who might not have cared if we were using the same old tactics. And so I think she did a really good thing in terms of getting more girls interested in competitive Magic. And the article was nice. It was incredibly fair. It didn't lean, one way or the other, but some really great takes from Jess, Autumn, and Elaine. And so I would definitely give it a read and kind of see where we're going. And they also address the issue of, kind of tokenism, where the interviewer asks Elaine, when it comes to the Mythic Pro League, it's 32 dudes. And Elaine gives a really good explanation of why it's not a good idea to just give it to somebody because they're a girl and the downsides to that.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where, again, And I've even seen it. Like I've seen gaming establishments come and go in Orlando. They show up, it's dark and dingy, and there's just like the same 8 guys, and they're all loud and they're screaming and they're cursing and they're doing whatever, and no one's calling them out. And those places go away. And
that was the #1 reason. Like when I first started doing the girlfriend bracket, we had just taken random surveys, and like the #1 reason that like a lot of girls won't go to stores is because they're filthy. Like, you know, the elitism and the behavior is certainly up there, but it's like, I remember when one of our first episodes, we ran a contest of we actually, when we first started the show, we used to get pictures from people of the bathrooms, and they were like, this is why I don't go to these stores. And we finally decided to you know, we had a contest of the worst bathroom, which there were some terrible offenders, but then we decided to turn around and have a contest of good bathrooms. And so all of these little things really do, you know, make a difference. We were seeing bathrooms that didn't even have toilet seats, didn't have, I mean, just ridiculous things. It was like, how is this possible?
Ouch.
It's not endemic just to Magic. This is obviously an issue all across all hobby games, game stores, comic book shops. What we laughingly refer to as the nerd community, but it's not really the nerd community anymore. You don't get to consider yourself an outsider when every movie is about superheroes and space. The best TV shows on television are all about vampires and werewolves, and everything that's ever been cool ever is no longer cool, and vice versa. Right? So we don't get to hide in our little cloister of, well, I got made fun of growing up for playing Magic the Gathering. So that's why I don't invite girls into my, you know, No Girls Allowed club. You're not allowed to do that anymore. It just isn't going to work. They ain't going to cut it. And so this is another good example. The thing I always struggle with is, you know, it's another Kotaku article of, you know, women in X game are being Y discriminated against, right? So, you know, it's this one happens to be about Magic specifically, and had some great insights from some fabulous folks in our community, and why Magic is, as per usual, on the forefront of these kinds of issues. But, you know, it's not going to get advertised away. It's not going to get think pieced away. And so we all got to be better.
Well, speaking of advertised away, they recently announced that Hewlett-Packard, HP, is going to be sponsoring the Mythic Invitational.
Nice.
Right.
Which is really fantastic. We've never had, you know, a Red Bull or a Coca-Cola or anything like that. You know, basically a large industry presence outside of our own to actually sponsor a big Wizards event. And that is an incredible threshold that we just crossed. So congratulations to all the people at MTG for making that happen.
Right. And so specifically, this is Omen, which is the gaming computer branch of HP. They specifically make the gaming style PCs with the high capacity video cards and sound cards and things like that. That's a big, exciting partnership. You know, it was newsworthy when a GP was sponsored by Tigtone from Adult Swim, let alone.
I still don't know what that is.
I've heard it's not as terrible as it looks.
Okay.
To be fair, and it looks pretty terrible, but I've heard that it's not as terrible as it looks. I still got that playmat somewhere.
Okay.
I had one, but then I didn't want it. All right, so
you just left it there.
Well, I mean, gave it to a good home.
Sure. Okay.
That said,
regifted to the kids.
Yeah, 5 kids, y'all. They all need playmats. All right, so bringing up here a closer look at the stained glass planeswalkers.
Ooh.
There are 36 planeswalkers in War of the Spark. Oops, all planeswalkers.
And no Garrick.
No Garrick.
Right.
That is so weird, because here's the thing. So I really liked the idea of Garrick being in this set, because he's sort of I fantasized about him sort of being like the wild card. Like he's sort of crazed now. He's hunting other planeswalkers. Like, what a great kind of wild card weapon to like introduce to this Affinity War, you know, setting that we're going to be in. And it seems like a really glaring omission that he's not here.
I think okay, so this is our conspiracy theory tinfoil hat time. Everybody put on your tinfoil helmets, like Eric does, which is He's just not in the stained glass windows. That doesn't mean he ain't going to show up.
No, Morrow did, unless Morrow's keeping it quiet, but no, Morrow did a mailbag article the other day where he confirmed that Garrick wasn't here, but he said that there were big things for Garrick coming up. But, it seems like he'd be such a natural fit for this. Like, you don't know what side he's going to be on. He might just start picking off random planeswalkers. Like, I think he'd be a great foil.
Yeah, I agree. I think that the issue with Garrick is that he is sort of a symbol of toxic masculinity.
I don't buy that, and I'm pretty.
That's not my.
I don't
pulpit to argue from. So I like Garrick, and I think that the character is interesting and unique, and we haven't seen him in a while. And the fact that he was the focus of a core set and then sort of fell off the face of the multiverse is really confusing. However, we have 36 planeswalkers. I would not be surprised to see the 37th.
We get Ashiok though, so Ashiok is coming, and then there were a couple that we don't know. There was I believe the young lady with the pointed hat.
Yep.
And then there was sort of an Etherborn looking thing with like smoke and darkness, and so there's a couple mysteries in that window, which I'm really excited about.
Yeah. There's Mu Yan Ling and Doggo Pupper.
Yeah.
There's our boy Tibbers making a return. Go Tibbers.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of that one.
Ashiok.
Ashiok coming back. Davriel Kane from the Sanderson novel.
Didn't they break up? Oh, that's Danity.
Yeah, Davriel Kane. Yeah, that's good. I like that one.
Nice.
That's a deep cut from early 2000s.
That's a reference like two people in the chat will understand. It's fine.
Yeah, it took me a while to get it. And so I'm excited to see what they do with these planeswalkers. The stained glass art is gorgeous. It's going to be a real shame if they don't use those on actual factual Magic cards.
I think what the stained glass is that it is the artwork that is on the cards, but it is, they gave it to a graphic designer and said, make this stained glass, right? Make it, put some filters over it and make it work. And that ultimately these are going to be the poses that the planeswalkers are in. It's just that this is the glass version of them. As it were. That's my take on it. That said, fantastic surprise today in seeing Autumn Burchett on Forbes.com.
Yeah, so this was a really neat interview. We'd kind of been waiting for this. There have been other milestones in the past that got significantly more media coverage. And so I think everybody was kind of waiting for the articles to come up about Autumn. And Autumn just has a lot of really great opinions on things, whether it be the community or how they feel about the competitive scene or what it's like to be a national champion. And so really great read, even if you don't necessarily know Autumn, definitely give it a look and then see what they have to say about things.
Yeah, it was great. Absolutely. I mean, it was just a good read, period.
Shout out to Lauren Orsini, who is the writer here and has written about Magic the Gathering things for a number of outlets, including Forbes in the past. And so really excited to get that out there.
Very nice. Aaron, there was a stream this past weekend, or was it this past week? I can't remember.
Yeah, it was Friday night. Calendar had posted something to Twitter indicating that somebody very close to him had suffered some trauma. And then he also admitted that he also himself had been a victim of this kind of trauma before, and that he wanted to do something about it the only way that he really knew how, which is to stream. And so he decided to launch a charity stream on Friday night for a trauma charity, and ended up raising over $18,000 in a little over a day, a little over a couple hours. I contributed to it myself. I watched the stream. It was amazing. Caleb is just an amazing human being. I've had the pleasure of meeting him before. I played against him on camera. Just one of the good guys in this community. And so it was really great to see him using his, we talked before about how a lot of times you feel very helpless when things are kind of falling apart around you. And, you ask yourself, like, what can I do? Like, I'm just kind of one person. I'm just a streamer or whatever. But you really can, do amazing things, with your gifts and with your powers. And so he chose to use his powers for good, and he did some good things.
Very nice. Well, way to go, Caleb.
He is, of course, streaming right now as
Absolutely.
part of the Tempo Storm team. Don't click over to him just yet. Wait till our show's over.
It was also so much more noticeable because some other things were happening at the same time.
We'll get to those later.
Where are you now?
That tea's coming, y'all. That tea is coming. Look, well, the Magic Weekend what used to be the Magic Weekend, which essentially I think it was a week or two after the set was released, to try to get people sort of excited about Standard or the new set, has been named Planeswalker Weekend. There will be 36 Planeswalkers in War of the Spark, as we've said many times, and each pack has at least one Planeswalker in it. For your Planeswalker Weekend draft or sealed event, Planeswalker cards will be castable using mana of any color.
Wow.
This means that players will be able to play every Planeswalker they open, regardless of the colors of their deck.
Huh.
And it's going to have the largest event kit of all time, including the champion playmat. There's going to be full art promo cards. There's going to be alternate art promo cards. There's going to be poster triptychs that they can put in, those three, the three posters that kind of go together, and 60 stickers, which
if you put all three triptychs together, do they make 7 posters? Because that's a Urza's Tower joke. Never mind. Keep going.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, so 60 stickers with War of the Spark characters on them. So this is definitely sort of above and beyond. Again, this is one of those things where you're like, wow, this is a real investment into putting money into the promo products that you're going to put into these stores. That's a terrific thing. And I can't wait for that to happen. I hope players have a good time with it.
Yeah, I mean, I make it out to my LGS very rarely. But the times I go are very often the pre-release weekends.
Yeah.
And so for me, this is the big way that I personally go to an FLGS. And to see them innovate and continue to operate in this space is really exciting.
Very nice. There is a new promo of Cast Down that is only attainable via a Japanese magazine. And this is... They've done, promos for comic books, for example, in the new Chandra comic book, and they've done one in the older IDW books as well, which is fine and all. This one appears to be another one in that sort of fashion, which is you have Cast Down with this really sweet Liliana artwork. There's a really cool, the quote actually is translated more or less into, everyone worries about being forgotten after death, but you don't have to worry. Death belongs to nameless ones. As long as you have a name, you must raise it with confidence. That's Liliana.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. But again, this is beautiful. It's going to be foil, which is going to be awesome. And it's going to be hard to get.
Now, is this... Because I'm thinking back to earlier in this very episode when we discussed foil copies of cards going into WPN packs. Are we going to see English versions of this very soon?
I don't know. That's a good question. And I could very well see that happening.
Because it's got that WPN Starburst on it. It doesn't have like the IDW watermark or any of that kind of other histrionics that sometimes the promos have. So I was just interested.
Maybe. I mean, and I could see it no problem. Ruben, can you tell us a little bit about what Kenji's doing and has done over the past weekend?
Do I have to? No, I'm kidding. Kenji Egashira, better known as Numat the Nummy, is a very talented gentleman, a paragon of the Magic streaming community, one of the early members of the Magic the Gathering streaming community on Twitch, and someone that I always point to as saying that if you really want to succeed at the game of content creation and blazing your own trail, especially on the streaming platform of twitch.tv, show up every day, because Kenji did, and it's paying dividends in more ways than one. It would have been nice enough to get married, right? Congratulations, Kenji, and your nuptials. That is really exciting. But
Numat and nuptials.
Numat and nuptials.
Nice.
That would have been a good week for almost anybody, but Kenji wasn't done, because Team Solo Mid is a enormous gaming team that has lots of gaming rosters, including Apex Legends and Fortnite and lots of other games. Signed their very first Team Solo Magic player in Kenji. That is a huge deal for Team Solo Mid. They have 1.9 million Twitter followers, to give you some scale as to how big of a deal they are.
And yet they still can't fill out their Twitter bio.
Well, some people's children, I'll tell you what.
Wow.
But in any case, they've started off their roster with a bang, getting Numat on their roster.
Very nice.
I was a little confused when I first saw the announcement tweet get retweeted in my feed, because they were using the hashtag TS Magic, and they were like, you know, announcing the first TS Magic player, and I was like,
Yeah.
Sometimes TS doesn't always stand for what we think it stands
he's a nice
for.
guy and all, but I was like, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that said, congratulations to Kenji, the newly wedded couple. That's fantastic. Hope you guys.
It's really interesting to see these non-Magic companies move into the Magic gaming sphere. Tempo Storm was an obvious first one. You know, the people who are in charge of that company are former Magic players and now current Magic players again. And so them picking up folks was kind of the next logical step. But now we're seeing the big dogs of the format start picking people up. Team Solo Mid is a huge name with a ton of name recognition, and for them to start a team, that's a big deal.
So what I love most is making things or doing things that no one has ever done before. And I'm going to do that with the War of the Spark pre-release at Cool Stuff Games, and I will show you that when I'm ready to do that. And it's really cool. No one's ever done this before.
Are you announcing an announcement?
Cool. Well, no, not exactly, because I don't know when they're going to come in and stuff. But whatever. The point is, I'm doing something new and cool. But there's also something new and cool over here on.
That was the rockiest segue ever.
No, it wasn't. We got through the road was not that. All right, it was under construction. The point is, altersleeves.com showed up, and quite frankly, this is the first time I've ever seen anything close to what they're doing. They're not using anything copyrighted. They are making sleeves that are essentially painted around the edges, around the border, sometimes right on top of things, that you will slide over a certain card and will now look a certain way. You will get one for Balefire Liege, as the example I have on the screen, and when you sleeve it up, it now looks like it's borderless, but you didn't have to put paint on it. You didn't have to pay an Altars to do so. You can just get your Balefire sleeve, and now you have it, and there you go.
So it's like altars. So it's like altars for commitment phobes, like
sort of.
Yeah.
You have to. I mean, you're still paying the altarist. It's just that the altarist is this Kickstarter or this website,
right?
Which is, but you also don't have to, quote unquote, damage the card itself. You still get the art. You still get the ability to play with the art in your own hands without the card itself being painted on. I have a lot of altered cards. I used to have a Bant deck that had a bunch of altered cards in it. The problem is, once I took that deck apart, I now have this Sylvan library that has a thick layer of paint on it. I have a Soul Ring that has a big layer of paint on it, and I can't put it in my non-altered decks. And so this is a cunning solution to that issue as well.
What I've read and seen so far is that these are more or less sort of kind of perfect fits. These are supposed to go inside your normal regular sleeves and on top of it. Because they're perfect fits, they can actually get closer to making sure they're exactly lined up, which I think makes sense. But again, this is one of those things where, like, hey, it's just really cool. I've never seen anything like it. I have no idea how the production process works. How do you choose which cards and why? You basically only need, like, one of them. Maybe you buy 3 of them in case, you're worried about them getting damaged. But if you can only play so many, Balefire Strixes or whatever you have things for, like, that's fine, I guess. I don't know. The business model is, like, basically where we go from here. What's
the
business
other
model?
thing that's interesting about this is that if you have a generic enough border or art style, you can have your entire deck be that border and art style. So if you have flames around the edges of your red black, what's the red black? Xantha.
Xantha, Rakdos.
Have those crazy Rakdos flames around everything from your basic land to your commander. So it's another way to customize what you have as a Magic player. So
I don't like them.
Why?
I think they're tacky.
I mean, what if you had, like, like ones that had, like, bones and stuff and, like, graveyard stuff around the outside?
What if you have ones? Remember the Channel Fireball Guy Fieri shirt from last week? What if we had Channel Fireball Guy Fieri flames?
Get out.
Look, I'm just saying, what if you had, like, our heads just, like, poking up, just like, hey.
Right.
Then I would never use those cards.
What if we had Aaron, here's what we're gonna do. What we're gonna do is we're gonna get the altar sleeves, and they're gonna have a blue border, but with light blue dots.
Right.
And then underneath, it's gonna have a orange bar and our logo. And then every card in your deck will be a Magic Mike's card.
Yeah, see, I don't.
No?
Yeah, that's terrible.
How is that terrible?
It's terrible.
It's fine.
Aaron, darling,
Okay.
I'm just.
It's okay. Look,
it's okay.
Some people think that sweater vests are cool. Some people think that sweater vests are tacky. Some people think that tux shorts are cool. Some people think that tux shorts are
Who
tacky.
thinks tuck shorts are cool?
LeBron James.
Oh,
Who
okay.
thinks well, for example, pop sockets are not universally beloved. They are not. They are ridiculed by some. Not everyone likes them. Some people think they're dumb.
Yeah,
and
by people who
excessive.
take bad selfies.
There you go. Well, maybe the people who take bad selfies don't understand branding. And then there we are. I love
boy.
you, Aaron. Let's keep moving. All right.
It's okay.
all right.
It's okay to have opinions. You both can be right.
That's right.
And if people want to be tacky, let them be tacky.
I
right?
suppose.
At least here's the selling point for you, Aaron. You don't have to use them, and the people that do use them, you'll be able to recognize immediately.
And steer clear of them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I am personally super intrigued by the product. Altersleeves.com. If you're listening, hit me. I want to talk. I think this is really cool.
I'm already blocking you on Twitter.
Right.
God almighty. Of course she is. All right. That said, moving on here to Desperate Ravings. It's getting crazy up in here.
Oh,
Pascal Maynard notes that, there's a 2018, aka 3 months ago, 2018 Magic Online Championship, and there's no information for it on the format or where it is or what's going to happen. And he says, Can we just all agree to split the 200K, save ourselves the MTGO updates in a weekend?
I like it.
Like, just all the people. What? There's like 16 people or 24 people in it. I can't remember exactly how many.
I don't know.
But they just like we just take our 200K slice, and move on. I don't know. It's unfortunate.
I think that's they're trying to let the MOCS just kind of slowly go away and die, like they did a lot of other things in the past of Magic the Gathering advertising. But this one, unfortunately for Wizards, can't do that because there is lots of promised prize involved. If you want to talk about actual applications of promissory estoppel, then the prize at the end of the rainbow, the carrot at the end of the stick for the MOCS is right on the top of the list. So I'll be interested to see what they do there.
If you if you're at Wizards right now, I just can't imagine the person who's like trying to get excited about the MOCS. Like just that person, whoever that person may be, I hope they are, don't get me wrong, but I think it's very difficult to be like this Magic Online anything.
Well, whoever it is, I'm sure they can be excited about Alter Sleeves and the MOCS.
Wow. Well, it's fine. I can't see the sun for all this shade, I'm telling you. But unfortunately, sort of the sadness on top of that one is that Pascal Maynard notes that he had been laid off from Channel Fireball as a content producer, which is
laid off. Really?
I'm still mad at him for not accepting my Facebook friend request.
Well, I mean,
laid off. Wow, he actually used the phrasing "laid off." I hadn't realized that.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I've been let go from websites for doing written content before. Previous to working at Star City Games, I had been let go from being a writer at Star City Games for a period of time, and I've done that before. I didn't. The phrasing of the phrase "laid off" is interesting. I did not realize that, but on to bigger and better things, hopefully, for Pascal.
Yeah.
Someone who we talk about on the show quite a bit, very talented player. But it's tough out there when you're not one of the 32. When you're not one of the bourgeoisie and you're back to being one of the proletariat. It's a problem. So
I do want to build off this a little bit. Seeing Pascal is announcing that he's no longer with CFB reminded me of a podcast episode that Cedric did recently with Alex Majlichan, who was the young man that made top 8 at the Mythic Championship, known for playing Affinity in Modern. And they were talking about how Magic content has really changed in that nobody wants like deep dive articles anymore. Nobody wants satire. They want a deck list, they want a sideboard guide, and get out of the way. And they were both kind of bemoaning the direction that Magic content has gone in. And even Emma was talking on Twitter, and she was like, some of the best articles that I was so proud of, nobody read, and that, you really are forced to kind of dumb it down a little bit because that's just where people are right now. And I think that's really sad. And I still love those kinds of articles. So if you're one of those people who does write those things, I want to read them. But, people are really having to put themselves in these very narrow boxes because that's where the views are.
Yeah.
I mean, well, look, I think it also relates to essentially the fact that Jeff Cunningham is a national treasure. And if you guys have not read this article, I'm linking it right now in the chat. It's called Lands and Spells. It's on magic.tcgplayer.com. I'm just going to go ahead and read you the first sentence. All right. This is why Jeff is better than everyone else. He begins, well, what I mean, comparatively. This report wouldn't exist if Tim Ayton hadn't, in a calculated act of spite, intending to consolidate social capital gained following a deal with the devil unlikely $110,000 winning streak on Jeopardy, compelled the coverage reporter on site to commit me to writing a tournament report if I finished in the top 8, knowing full well both that my superstitiousness would prevent me from refusing this request mid-tournament and that I am no longer capable of producing a report that inspires anything but ill will, thereby ensuring my ultimate defeat even in the event of a small victory. His cruel trap with the second sentence.
That's a lot of words.
His cruel trap was executed with the precision of a master, leaving me here trying to pick up the pieces. I'm telling you, Jeff Cunningham is fantastic.
It's a lot of words, but they're all perfectly placed. I mean, if it's
it's a tapestry.
Yeah, it's like P. Sully. It's like P. Sully is able to just place every word perfectly, but Jeff Cunningham does it less regularly. But when he does it, it's just pure gold.
It's because Patrick Sullivan at this point is basically a Twitter ninja. That's the way I describe him, and that he's better at communicating in 240 characters or whatever than everybody else is. Yeah. And that's great. That's a superpower. But Jeff Cunningham writes long-term tournament reports that are just fantastic and terrific.
So if you have the patience for it, then it is absolutely worth your read. And if you ever see anyone referring to Fedge, F-F-E-J, that's who they're referring to.
Yep, the master himself.
Old school kind of, if you talk to any of the old heads in Magic, they will talk about Fedge and his tournament reports.
So, we get to Amaz can't make the Magic Invitational.
Here we go.
The Magic Fest, the Mythic Invitational, whatever, Mythic Magic Multiple, whatever. The point is, he couldn't make it, something out of Visa or something or other. And they announced that a female streamer, Nessa Meow Meow.
Yeah, I played against her at Diamond.
I'm sure she's a sweet person, but I can't with that name. I'm just like, girl.
Everybody's got these, someone named PewDiePie is the most subscribed to YouTube person. So if someone is allowed to call themselves PewDiePie, then she can call herself whatever she wants.
Right. The visa didn't clear in time, according to Draco Lucian. Thank you. Okay, but her name is Vanessa, and congratulations to her for being chosen.
Of course.
That was cool.
Yeah. Condolences to Amaz. He's Hong Kong full-time resident. Couldn't get the visa in time for this one.
Yeah. So unfortunately, Jeff Hoogland found out, and he was mad. And I'm as the editor-in-chief of CoolStuffFate.com, I have hired him to write things in the past, and I've tried to talk to him privately in terms of the way that he may behave or communicate certain things with himself and others, and the way he may come off by himself and others. And so he posts stuff.
Now, you talk to him regularly. How's he doing? Is he okay?
He's okay. From last time I spoke to him, he was okay. From last time I spoke to him, I felt like we had moved forward. Right. But then the last time I spoke to him was
we talked about this a little bit last week, that we were like, man, we see the light at the end of the tunnel for Jeff. He's in a weird place, but there is an avenue back. And then Rick and Morty gifts out of nowhere, responding to the official Magic account. It was like,
it was one thing.
This was avoidable.
Right. Well,
fortunately, Sean McLaren had his Twitter meltdown that distracted everyone from everything the other day when turns out he discovered that weed was legal.
So Sean McLaren was before this, though.
Right. But everyone was still distracted by it.
I suppose.
The point is that, well, first of all, there was the gif of flipping off basically wizards. Okay. And I'm like, all right, that's terrible, but we've stopped here. I get it. He was upset. It's bad. It should go away, but it's a thing. Then he began pointing to other streamers who he felt like had done bad behavior.
Yeah, that's where it got bad.
And it got really bad because the only streamers he was pointing out was the newly invited Vanessa and another female streamer. And at which point he goes, well, show me male streamers acting badly and I'll link male streamers. And we're like,
on International Women's Day, no less.
oh God. And we're like, this is awkward and I hate to, and God bless Athena, for example. I believe Ephra was in the chat. Your wife's a wonderful person who really did try to tell him every single step of the way, like really this stop, please stop, please stop, please stop. Eventually, he took all that stuff down. He posted a message that he's sorry for the hostility created with his posts. He was upset, obviously. I kid you not. It is in Jeff's best interest to hire someone who posts everything on his social media. It goes through someone. He says, hey, Aaron, can you read this? And then this is okay.
Well, Aaron and I have done this for companies before, professionally.
Yeah. So. My friend Kate and I have definitely, we joke about how we need to start the Hornet Queens PR agency, because anytime there's a PR nightmare, we have our little Slack channel and we're just like, I wouldn't have said this. Why did he say this? Oh, we should have deleted that. Like, we just kind of think about what we would have done. And I was on a train, actually, as this was going down. I was on a train to Sturtevant to go hang out with my friend Chris, who's currently in the chat, because we were going to go to regionals the following morning. And so I'm on this train. I'm in the quiet car of an Amtrak, and I can't emote. I can't say anything. So I'm having to keep it quiet. And I'm just like, I'm having to keep it to myself. And then, updates are coming in. People are pinging me. We have our own little group chat. And it was like a bomb that kept exploding. And by the time I got off the train, Chris had been in the car and didn't know what was happening. I was like, girl, like in the course of a 30-minute train ride, he started the meltdown, escalated the meltdown, and then deleted the Twitter feed. Like, that's a lot of ground to cover in 30 minutes.
It was quite the roller coaster, unfortunately. So I believe in people's better angels. I want Jeff to do well. The man has a family. He's got kids.
Beautiful wife. Like, I love his wife.
I want the best for the guy. I really do. I mean, like, I've known him for a very long time.
He's a content creator who has made
a lot of energy. Good brewer.
Lying in it.
He can't. Sometimes people can't help themselves.
I think it's a little bit more than that, though. I kind of touched on this a little bit in the pre-show, though, but I think it's very intoxicating to, when you reach a certain point in terms of your visibility, and Jeff is very much so, like, what, 25,000 on Twitter? Close, or is that Twitch? But when you have that many people around you, it's very intoxicating to kind of buy into the hype, and you see all of these people around you and they're building you up. And especially in this situation, you had a lot of people that were like, yeah, get them, like, tell wizards, and you buy into that and you're like, yeah, I'm gonna go get it. But what you don't understand is that these people genuinely don't care. They're there for the nonsense. Like, they want you to pop off. They want you to look silly. They don't want you to go after wizards because they genuinely want you to be a part of Mythic Championship. They're there for the nonsense. And as long as the ride keeps spinning, they're there for you. But it feels like love. It feels like support. You feel like these people care about you. But all you really need is like one or two good people around you to be like, log off.
Yeah.
Just log off. And it gets hard to see that sometimes when you have all these people telling you that you're right, that you should get angry. And if you're not good at kind of weeding that out, it's very easy to kind of go down this road of just melting down.
Well, this road of, like, you are fighting the good fight, you're standing up to the man, and
a really good example was Travis Wu. I remember when the petition was going around to get Travis Wu unbanned, and for a while he had kind of endorsed it, and then he had a moment of clarity where he was like, I don't want my name on this anymore. Like, I'm gonna go hang out in this cabin right here. I'll eat my ban and I'll come back. And people were mad about that, and that was the best thing he could have done. But again, they were there for the nonsense. And so the minute he starts to do something that's actually healthy for him, they don't like it anymore. And kudos to him for finally being able to see through the haze.
Yeah. So either way, again, It's unfortunate, and again, the idea that you're driven by people who are like, you're a crusader. That's what you're really doing. When actually it's just like, you're making things worse for yourself. You're making animosity in the community. You're sort of more or less attacking people, but you don't understand that, and it's really awkward, and everybody suffers as a result. All right, so we don't have a ton of time. I do want to touch on one thing, which for me was Artifact. The Artifact train continues to slow and grind to a sad halt. The Artifact, the Richard Garfield's company, the Three Donkeys, was a contractor with Valve, alongside Scaff Elias, who also helped make Magic. If I recall the story correctly, Scaff is the person who saved us all from having pink backs on the Arabian Nights cards. I believe that was right.
Scaff.
Thanks, man. But they had worked for over 4 years on this game that died in 2 months. That is an unbelievable, from 60,000 people a day to less than 400. These days, God knows what it is. That was the last time I looked a few days ago.
That's brutal.
And it's just super brutal. And basically, he says, that due to the they weren't surprised considering how, quote, rocky the launch was.
To put it mildly.
AKA, people didn't play, and those who did play didn't like it, and then stopped playing, and that's the problem. So it's one of those, again, we've been here through the whole announcement. We've been here through the entire Richard Garfield is involved. The idea that Stanislav Sivka is going to all of a sudden become an Artifact pro, and everybody's going to be an Artifact so-and-so, and everybody was, they were hitching those wagons to that Artifact train as quick as they could. And even as it started to go down and go away, you could see them still trying. They're like, oh yeah, we're going to have this, this $1,000 event, blah, 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 with like the 7 people still playing. And it's awkward and unfortunate as the fourth flower.
This was really shocking because we as Magic players, we hold Richard Garfield in such high regard, and rightfully so, just to be clear. But I think we forget that he's designed a lot of other games besides Magic. And some of them have, maybe failed as well. But, we're so used to everything he touches in Magic turning to gold. Look what him being a very crucial part of Dominaria. And so we just naturally think that anything he does is going to be a huge hit. And sometimes it doesn't land. And I know for me, I had to really remind myself of that, the man has had a couple missteps, and it's okay.
Yeah.
and he's had...
As a game designer, if you hit better than 10%, you're a golden god. So,
yeah.
Okay. The problem here was that they put a lot of eggs in the Artifact basket.
Yeah, they did.
He's had well over 20, basically large hits. His current hit, while this completely tanked and died, he also made KeyForge. KeyForge right now is huge. Gangbusters. Let me tell you, CSI has sold some freaking KeyForge, y'all. We brought 6 cases to PAX Unplugged. They didn't make it 3 hours.
Wow.
That was as much as we could find to bring with us, and I swear to God, they just disappeared. People love it. But here's the fun part about KeyForge, just for a quick aside here. KeyForge is essentially made for board gamers. And so KeyForge came out last October, November, something like that. And, here we were essentially in February going when's the next set? All the CCG players are like, we need to know when the next set is. Why isn't it out already? Oh my God, where's the next set? Well, they finally announced details on the second set. It's going to come out, I think, around Gen Con in August or so. And board gamers, I kid you not, were like, whoa. This is really fast. You got to slow down here, Fancy Flight.
I'm sorry. 2 sets in 11 months? What do you think I am?
Yeah.
Made of money?
Yeah.
It was just,
I don't have the blood pressure medication for that.
It was very, very cute.
Scaff Elias, by the way, invented the Pro Tour.
Nice. Well, there you go.
Created the Pro Tour, among his other things, like designing lots of stuff and not having the pink card backs.
Let's go ahead and pick a winner for our $50 gift certificate to coolstuffinc.com. Congratulations to Tesla Prime.
Nice.
You have won.
Oh, yay.
Yeah. And
I feel like that's a long time person.
They've been in the chat for a while.
Yeah, congratulations, Tesla Prime. Please contact Erin if she hasn't blocked you already.
I don't think I have, so. Look at how excited they are. They're like, what? Me?
It's you, man. Congratulations. That's how it works. Lady Atarka, that's not how you say my name. I don't know what that means.
That's you. You don't know who she is? She's a moderator. She's an amazing mod.
Well, I don't mean no shade, y'all.
That's not how you say my name because she wanted to win the thing, is why she said that.
I see. See, that's cool. That's cool.
Lupita Nyong'o.
There you go.
Oh my God. And you'll get that when you watch the pre-show.
Right.
All right. That said, let's go ahead and move over here to the finisher, which we will begin with thanking all of our subscribers, and then later we will thank all of our bit givers.
Yes.
Are
So let's
we
go.
going to see what the Kickstarter's at?
We're going to see what the Kickstarter's at. In fact, I'm going to pull the Kickstarter up on the screen.
Cool. We're doing okay.
I'm very excited. We're at 1403 as of this very moment.
Great.
Thank you all.
Yes, thank you so very, very much. I'm going to go ahead again, bring it up here on the screen for you guys in 2 seconds.
Young Mage, 5 more years and I can watch the pre-show. Good job, young man.
We're getting there. We're getting there. Thank you, Martin. You are terrific. So yeah, we're currently at 1403, 33 backers. We have a week to go. This will end 15 minutes after the next show. So if we're trying to push for those special guests, if we're trying to push for anything else, that will be the thing. You can see the new token artwork on the screen right now. That stuff already exists, is already designed, and the digital items for just the $1 backers will be going out very soon. So you guys can have this artwork on your phones or your wallpapers for your laptops or your desktops as soon as tomorrow.
Love it.
Which is fantastic. So that said, oops, wrong slide. Get here to our thanks. Thank you so much to The Business resubbing for 4 months. That's awesome. Tim's War resub for 10 months in a row. Hey-o. Let's see. Track Freak Levi has subbed. Welcome to the channel. Big Lou 154 subbed. Welcome to the channel as well. Eternally Tribal, or I'm sorry, that was the bits thing. You'll get to that. I Has a Deck subscribe. Thank you so much. Shame MTG resub for 2 months. Thank you very much. Jersey Bricklayer, we'll talk about that in the Discord about how to get more pop sockets. But that said, if you want to talk about the bits, Ruben, I think we're ready for bit talk.
Yeah, I'll do the bits. We're running late, so I'm not going to do a crazy voice. We'll just do, what do we want to do here? We'll do
Kermit the Frog. Dios rules 666. Give us 6 bits. Thank you so much. Sexy Soy 49 bits. Thank you. Alveer 150 bits. Eternally _ Tribal 250 bits, and Martin Casa 300 bits.
So a couple people in chat are asking, pop sockets are things that you can attach to the back of your cell phone that you can then use your cell phone. You can either rest your cell phone on the pop socket. It's mostly better for holding your phones if you want to take selfies. You don't have to find, sometimes the hand placement gets really awkward, and I've seen some of your selfies. So, but pop sockets are really, really nifty, particularly for selfies or if you use your phone as a viewing device.
Yes, this is the magic of the pop socket right here. This is my Cool Stuff one because we made a whole bunch from Cool Stuff, which is why I'm confident we can make them for this Kickstarter because I already have a person that can go make me pop sockets and here's some money, which is always great. But yeah, those super handy, and also like when you're reading, like when you're in bed and you're trying to hold your phone, like it's a lot easier to hold it like this than to try to hold it like this on the sides, and your fingers start to hurt and your arm.
And then it lands on your face, and you're like, "Ow!"
Exactly. So, got to be careful. That said, thanks everybody really seriously for backing the Kickstarter at this point. You are the best, and I appreciate you.
And Evan will sleep a little bit better tonight, I think, because he's been breathing in a paper bag for most of the week.
I mean, yeah, like we suspended last weekend because I would have just had a complete panic attack.
Sweating was happening. It was intense.
It was bad. That said, we are turning the corner to the finisher. Tonight is the launch of the Magic Mike's War of the Spark Complete Set Review Kickstarter, our 3rd ever complete set review. Wizards announced that there will be more than 30 unique individual Planeswalkers appearing in the set, making that the most walkers I've ever seen in one place since my last visit to the nursing home. Ravnica's about to be the hot spot. But here's what I want to know. With all these big multiverse celebrities descending on the City of Guilds, where can a fan get the best glimpse of a planeswalking A-lister? Ruben?
I hope people get whatever this reference is about to be. But
oh my God.
Ravnica's hottest club is Spectacle. Club promoter Edwin Irvin has gone all out. This place has everything. 1-drops, burn spells, weird card advantage in red, and most importantly, enough basic mountains to cover the hole in Aaron's wall and the hole in Aaron's heart.
There's a hole in there.
I can't even be mad. That is glorious.
That's amazing. Aaron?
Ravnica's hottest club is Slitherhead. Club promoter Boobin Wrestler has gone all out. This place has everything. Dredge, Threshold, Flashback, Eternalized, and the most important thing for any nightclub I visit, no hate allowed. No occasions, no landlines.
None. Period.
Check them out.
Ravnica's hottest club is Tickles. Club promoter originally Uthusen has gone all out.
It's about as well as you pronounce Estrus normally.
Thank you. This place has everything. Haste, Shroud, Trample, Hybrid Mana, and the music to get the dance floor swinging in the red zone for our team.
Rah.
Nice.
A few of you out there are going to know what that's referencing, and that's okay. And I would also like to say thank you, Martin Casa, for 69 bits.
Yeah.
Nice.
For the
Nice.
yeah, nice.
Nice.
But speaking of naps, that ends another live episode of Magic Mics. Thanks for joining us here to discuss all things Magic. Thank you, Aaron.
Thank you for having me, and thank you everybody in the chat who's been hyping up our amazing mods who've been plugging the Kickstarter, everybody for their support. We see every single one of you, and we love you. Thank you.
That's right. You guys are.
And come say hi to me this weekend. I'm going to be at the Hunter Burton Memorial Open in Texas, y'all. So if you're in the area, come say hello. It'll be a really, really good time for a great cause.
And this is rare. I will be at Grand Prix Tampa.
Ooh.
On Saturday.
Oh my God.
For a little while. I want to go. I'll at least get a draft or so in. Definitely want to go and say hi to some people. If you see me out there hanging around.
Erwin the Wary, you got to catch him.
That's right.
It's a pretty rare occurrence, I'm not going to lie. But, I am going. So if you're out there at GP Tampa and you see me, feel free to say hello. All right.
Today I learned there's a GP in Tampa this week.
It's true. It's going to be modern, though.
There's only 167 more hours on our Kickstarter, folks, so be sure to get your friends over there if they're interested in the complete set review.
Very nice. Move here to our final slide. I want to thank our sponsor, CoolStuffInc.com, our co-sponsors, CardHoarder.com and CardamaJigs.com, my co-hosts, Aaron Campbell and Ruben Bressler, you guys for watching or listening, and hope you support us at Patreon.com/MagicMics. Please follow, like, tweet, favorite, share, subscribe to everything social that tells people we exist. Catch us online on our Discord, Twitch.tv at Magic Mics, on Twitter at Magic Mics Cast, our Magic Mics subreddit, and like the Magic Mics page on Facebook. Talk to us privately at magicmicspodcast@gmail.com. Follow the audio-only podcast at magicmicspodcast.libsyn.com, or find us on iTunes or Spotify, or join us here next week. Same time, same place, for another episode of Magic Mics. Good night, everybody.